나 그냥 궁금해서 와봤어 또. 선물기는 꺼졌네 다행히. 이제 선물 못 보내지롱.
What secret has Jungkook hidden for so many years? And why did Taehyung suddenly become speechless after hearing the truth? In this emotional fictional story, a long-buried misunderstanding finally comes to light, leading to unexpected revelations, heartfelt conversations, and a journey of forgiveness. Will their friendship survive the weight of the past? Or is this only the beginning of an even greater mystery? Read until the end, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, like this story, and subscribe for more emotional BTS-inspired fan fiction. Have you ever wondered what would happen if the silence between two people who once understood each other better than anyone else suddenly became impossible to ignore? What if the distance everyone noticed was never caused by anger, betrayal, or jealousy, but by a secret so heavy that carrying it alone became more painful than revealing it? And what if the truth, hidden for years behind gentle smiles and quiet glances, was finally about to come into the light? Before we begin this fictional story, share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Jungkook has been hiding all this time? Don't forget to like this story, subscribe for more emotional fan fiction, and stay until the very end because the final revelation changes everything. The rain had been falling over Seoul since dawn, painting the streets with reflections of countless city lights. From the outside, everything looked ordinary. Cars moved through traffic. Coffee shops welcomed early customers. People hurried beneath umbrellas without paying attention to the stories unfolding around them. Yet somewhere inside a quiet recording studio, an invisible wall stood between two people who had once laughed together every single day. Jungkook sat alone near the window, watching raindrops race each other down the glass. His hands rested quietly on his lap, but his mind refused to be still. There was something inside him that had remained locked away for years, something he had convinced himself would never need to be spoken aloud. Every time he almost gathered the courage to tell Taehyung the truth, fear whispered louder than hope. Maybe today would be different. Maybe today's silence would finally lose. The door opened softly. Taehyung stepped inside. Neither of them spoke. For several long seconds, the room echoed only with the distant sound of rain tapping against the windows. Their eyes met briefly before drifting away again, as if both remembered 1,000 conversations they no longer knew how to begin. So, Taehyung finally said with a faint smile, "It's been a while." "It has." The reply was short. Too short. Both of them knew it. The comfortable conversations they once shared had somehow transformed into careful exchanges, measured words, and cautious smiles. It wasn't hatred. It wasn't resentment. It was uncertainty, the kind that slowly grows when two people stop asking questions because they become afraid of the answers. Taehyung walked toward the coffee machine, preparing 2 cups out of habit. He paused for a moment before looking over his shoulder. "Still black coffee?" Jungkook smiled gently. "You remembered." "I remember a lot more than you think." The answer sounded warm, but it carried a sadness neither of them acknowledged. After another silence, Jungkook spoke. "Hyung." Taehyung turned around. "I need to tell you something." His voice trembled. Not because he was afraid of Taehyung, because he was afraid of what the truth might change forever. Taehyung slowly placed the coffee cups on the table. "What is it?" Jungkook inhaled deeply. "There was never a misunderstanding." Taehyung frowned. "What do you mean?" "When you thought I was avoiding you." "I was." The room became completely still. Taehyung blinked once, unable to hide the surprise spreading across his face. "So, I wasn't imagining it?" "No." "Then why?" Jungkook lowered his head. "Because every time I looked at you, I felt guilty." Taehyung's heartbeat quickened. "Guilty for what?" Jungkook closed his eyes. "For believing something that wasn't true." Years earlier, during one of the busiest periods of their careers, an anonymous message had arrived on Jungkook's phone. It claimed that someone close to him had quietly begun resenting his growing popularity. There were screenshots, edited conversations, and carefully manipulated images that seemed convincing enough to plant doubt inside even the strongest friendship. At first, Jungkook ignored it. Then more messages arrived. Different numbers. Different accounts. The same accusations. Little by little, uncertainty replaced confidence. He never confronted Taehyung. He simply began creating distance. He answered messages later. Skipped opportunities to spend time together. Avoided conversations that once felt effortless. He convinced himself he was protecting both of them. Instead, he slowly built a wall neither of them knew how to tear down. Taehyung listened without interrupting. Every sentence felt heavier than the one before. "So," Taehyung whispered, "you believe them?" Jungkook nodded slowly. "I hated myself for it." Tears gathered in his eyes. "I wanted to ask you directly. I should have. But every day I waited made it harder. I kept thinking tomorrow would be easier. It never was." Taehyung remained silent. Not because he was angry. Because he finally understood something that had confused him for years. He had spent countless nights wondering what mistake he had made. He replayed conversations inside his head. He questioned his own words. He searched for moments that might explain why Jungkook suddenly seemed so distant. There had never been one. The mistake belonged to fear. Neither of them noticed that the rain outside had stopped. Sunlight slowly pushed through the clouds, filling the room with soft, golden light. Taehyung walked toward the window. "I blamed myself." Jungkook looked up. "I thought maybe I had changed. I thought maybe you no longer needed me around." Jungkook stood immediately. "No." His voice cracked. "Never. I was ashamed. I didn't know how to admit I had doubted someone who had always believed in me." For the first time that morning, Taehyung smiled. It wasn't a perfect smile. It carried years of sadness. Years of unanswered questions. Years of quiet hope. "But you told me." Jungkook nodded. "I almost didn't." "What changed?" Jungkook laughed softly through his tears. "I realized losing my pride would hurt less than losing our friendship forever." Taehyung looked at him for several seconds before walking closer. "There was something I never told you either." Jungkook froze. "What?" "When you started avoiding me, I decided to step back. I thought maybe you needed space. I told myself that if I really cared about you, I shouldn't force conversations you didn't want." Jungkook lowered his head again. "So we were both protecting each other and hurting each other at the same time." Neither of them laughed. Because it was true. The afternoon continued quietly. They talked about memories they had forgotten. Old rehearsals. Late-night meals. Long practice sessions. The smallest moments suddenly became the most valuable because they reminded both of them that genuine friendships are rarely destroyed by dramatic betrayals. Sometimes they are quietly buried beneath assumptions that nobody ever questions. As evening arrived, the city outside glowed with thousands of lights. Jungkook looked toward Taehyung. "I'm sorry." Taehyung answered immediately. "I know. No. I mean really sorry. I should have trusted you." Taehyung nodded gently. "And I should have asked you why you were hurting." For a long moment, neither of them spoke again. This silence, however, felt completely different. It wasn't filled with uncertainty anymore. It was peaceful. Comfortable. Like coming home after a journey that lasted far too long. Jungkook smiled. "You know." "What?" "I spent years thinking the secret would destroy everything." Taehyung laughed quietly. "It almost did." They both smiled. but telling the truth. It saved us. Outside, the rain clouds had completely disappeared. Above Seoul, the evening sky stretched endlessly in shades of orange and blue, reminding anyone willing to look up that storms never last forever. Sometimes the hardest part is simply believing that the sunlight is still waiting beyond them. And somewhere between the fading daylight and the beginning of another night, two friends finally understood that trust is not the absence of mistakes. It is the courage to face those mistakes together before silence becomes louder than the truth. Neither of them noticed how much time had passed. The studio lights had grown warmer as evening settled over the city, and outside the windows, Seoul shimmered beneath a sky washed in deep shades of blue and amber. The rain that had dominated the morning had disappeared completely, leaving behind clean streets that reflected rows of glowing streetlights. For the first time in what felt like years, Jungkook and Taehyung remained in the same room without feeling the need to fill every silence with words. The silence itself had changed. It no longer separated them. Instead, it allowed them to breathe. Jungkook leaned back in his chair, staring at the ceiling. A small smile appeared on his face, though traces of exhaustion still lingered in his eyes. I forgot what this felt like. Taehyung looked over. What? Being able to breathe around you. Taehyung chuckled quietly. You always could. No. Jungkook slowly shook his head. I just convinced myself I couldn't. Those words lingered in the air much longer than either of them expected. Taehyung knew Jungkook wasn't talking only about today. He was talking about every rehearsal where he kept conversations short. Every award show where they stood beside each other but exchanged only polite smiles. Every airport where cameras captured moments that fans endlessly analyzed without knowing what was happening inside Jungkook's heart. The distance had never been intentional. It had simply become a habit. And habits were difficult to break. Taehyung stood up and walked toward one of the shelves near the back of the studio. Hidden behind several music books sat a dusty cardboard box that nobody had touched in years. What are you looking for? Jungkook asked. I think. Taehyung smiled. I kept something. He carefully opened the box. Inside were old photographs, backstage passes, handwritten notes, and small souvenirs collected throughout countless tours and performances. Jungkook's eyes widened. You still have those? I never throw memories away. One by one, Taehyung placed the photographs on the table. There they were. Two teenagers laughing while wearing oversized hoodies during a practice break. Another picture captured them asleep in the waiting room before an early television appearance. One showed them celebrating a birthday with a cake that had accidentally fallen apart before anyone could cut it. Jungkook couldn't stop smiling. I remember this. You cried because you thought the cake was ruined. I didn't cry. You absolutely cried. I was emotional. You were dramatic. Jungkook laughed. So were you. For several minutes they laughed together over memories that suddenly felt much closer than the painful years separating them. Yet among all the photographs, one picture caught Jungkook's attention. It showed all 7 members standing together after a concert. Everyone was smiling. Everyone looked exhausted. Everyone looked happy. Jungkook gently picked it up. I almost forgot this night. Taehyung nodded. It was after the concert where the power went out during rehearsal. Oh. Jungkook laughed. And we thought everything was ruined. But somehow the show became unforgettable. Jungkook stared at the picture a little longer. Funny. What is? The things we fear the most sometimes become our strongest memories. Taehyung looked at him carefully. Do you know what I think? What? I think people spend too much time trying to avoid difficult conversations. Jungkook nodded. Because they're scary. They are. Taehyung sat back down. But avoiding them usually creates something even scarier. Regret. Jungkook quietly whispered the word before Taehyung could. The room fell silent again. This time neither of them looked away. They understood exactly what the other meant. After a while, Jungkook reached into his backpack. I actually brought something. What is it? He hesitated, then slowly placed a small notebook on the table. The cover looked worn from years of being carried around. Taehyung frowned. I've never seen that before. You weren't supposed to. Jungkook carefully opened the first page. Inside were handwritten lyrics, poems, thoughts, fragments of unfinished songs. Some pages were covered with crossed-out sentences. Others contained only a single line. Taehyung looked closer. You wrote all of this? Jungkook nodded. Whenever I couldn't say something, I wrote it instead. Taehyung gently turned another page. Then another. Suddenly he stopped. One sentence had been underlined. The hardest apology is the one you practice 1,000 times but never speak aloud. Taehyung looked up. When did you write this? A long time ago. For me? Jungkook didn't answer immediately. Finally, yes. Taehyung slowly closed the notebook. You know, I think I owe you something too. He walked toward another cabinet and pulled out an old envelope. Disclaimer. This story is a work of fiction created solely for entertainment purposes. Although it is inspired by the public personas of BTS members, all events, conversations, relationships, situations, and character portrayals in this story are entirely fictional and have been imagined by the author. This narrative does not represent real-life events, official statements, or verified information about Jungkook, Taehyung, BTS, HYB, or any related individuals or organizations. Any resemblance to actual events is purely coincidental. This fan fiction is written with respect and admiration for the artists, and is intended only as creative storytelling for fans.